And that's good. Okay. All right, everybody. So without further ado, thank you. Welcome along. Welcome along. Thank you for joining me. And as I said, if you've got any questions, just jump in and ask. Or you're really welcome, if you prefer not to ask a question out loud, you're really welcome to write a message to me. And if I don't see it on the screen, I will respond to it afterwards and let you know. So, all right. So today we're going to be making brioche buns, and we're also going to be making a beautiful herb and salmon hamburgers with those, basically. We're going to be making our own mayonnaise as well and putting all that together. So I will be cooking mine later tonight. So I'm going to show you how to do everything and just pop it aside or pop it in the fridge and you can do it afterwards. But we're also going to finish off with a really lovely, it's called a health chocolate torte. It's so nice. And I honestly think health is just kind of because they use almond flour. I'm not sure, but it's so yummy. It's so nice. So, and that's a chocolate torte with a beautiful coconut ganache. And so we'll make that to finish off. And yeah, no, and look, I'd love to see any photos. So if you make these, I'd love to see photos. Please post them on my page. That would be amazing. But yes, without further ado, let's start cooking. So what I'm going to do first off, for those that are following along and cooking with me, I'll just tell you the run sheet. So I'm going to jump to the herb and, the lemon and herb burgers, but we're going to do the zucchini fries first. What I've done, as you can see, is just chopped up my zucchini. So it's kind of into little battens, about 5 centimetres by 1 centimetre. Then we're going to coat those with a lovely egg wash, and we're going to make a parmesan and bread roll. So we're going to roll those through as well. Now, if you have an air fryer, these would be amazing in the air fryer. Okay, I have been dropping very big hints to my beautiful husband that that would be an awesome present, but we haven't got one just yet. So you can do them in the oven, and it does give the instructions for the oven, or if you want, you can fry them if you've got a fry pan. You can do them in the fry pan as well. So we're going to be doing those first. So I'll do the zucchini. We'll do the parmesan and bread crumb first. Then we'll jump out and do the brioche buns and set those aside, and I'll show you how to rise your bread dough faster, especially on cold days like it is today. I say that, but I am in Queensland. So, and my daughter's boiling the kettle. So that's one thing. I know she's doing it for a cup of tea, which is great. She can do that because she's going to be my chief bowl washer. That's okay. But if you're at home, it's actually awesome. So if you're cooking along, can you boil some water for me as well? Because what we're going to do, we're going to use that boiled water in our thermoservant. We're actually going to use that to rise the bread dough. So if you want to take this opportunity to just pop some water on, do that now. That would be awesome. Okay. We're going to do it then whilst our brioche buns are kneading. They knead for about 10 minutes. We're actually going to just make an egg wash, and we'll dip our zucchini fries and get that going. Then we'll set those aside, and we'll start our salmon burgers. Finish our salmon burgers, then we'll do our chocolate torte and coconut ganache, and then we'll finish off with the brioche buns at the end. So it's kind of jumping around a little bit, but we'll get it all done. Okay, so without further ado, let's get going. We're going to go straight into our zucchini fry the crumb. So what I want you to do, I don't know if, what I've done, and I'm not sure if anybody has seen it or really familiar or is still looking at a Thermomix at this point, but what you can do if you don't have a Thermomix at this stage is you can actually download from an app, you can download the recipes straight to your Thermomix. So I've downloaded all the recipes we're doing today, and it actually guides you through step by step. Okay. One of the best things you can do when you're in the recipe, it actually allows you to scroll through. I might get Bella just in the live. There we go. You might be able to see my screen. Thank you. So salmon burgers, we're actually going to scroll down. If you're cooking along at home, scroll down to, let me just turn this around. Scroll down till it says zucchini fries in the recipe, okay? And it'll say step 7. Literally, you just tap on it, it actually jumps you straight to that step. So it's now, if you wanted to cook these straight away, like if you're cooking along at home or we're watching this later, you can start to preheat your oven. If you've got an air fryer, just use that. That's amazing. And otherwise you can shallow fry them as well. Okay, so what we want to do, we do want to line a baking tray with the 30 to 40 centimetre baking tray. Yes. Okay, so grab some baking paper. Put it there. Here's some baking paper. You can use the oven mat. Sorry, I'll show you that in a second. Now, with your baking paper, I want to show you. I know people have seen me do the cook-alongs before. With your baking paper, something when you're trying to push your baking paper in and it springs back out again, that's really unruly. Just be brutal with your baking paper, okay? So run it up. And then, as soon as you scrunch it up, it actually takes the spring out of it and it just allows it to sit nicely. So there you go. All right, so pop that and we're going to pop that aside. All right, and then we say next. Okay, so now we get our Parmesan cheese. This is awesome. Now, believe it or not, people always ask me about how long the blades last in your Thermomix. They actually last a very long time. So obviously depending how often you use it and what you chop up in it, it actually lasts long, like depending on what you do, obviously depends on how long it lasts for. So, okay, one of the main culprits for blunting your blades is actually Parmesan cheese, believe it or not. So ice and Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese though, if you just cut it up into cubes like that, you won't have an issue. It's just when you put like a whole blocks in to do your Parmesan cheese, that's actually what blunts your blades. So yeah, just a little trick. So make sure when you're using Parmesan cheese, just cut it up into cubes. All right, now how
do you tell if your blades are blunt?
What's that, sorry?
How can you tell if your blades are blunt?
Okay, a really good way to do it. So if you are milling something like almond meal or rice flour, that takes about 30 seconds, okay, to mill really easily. If you find that your blades are taking longer, it's not going to be an issue. It just means you'll find that sometimes it's going to take sometimes a minute and a half if they're starting to get really blunt. Yeah, so.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. If you are in Brisbane and your blades are blunt, let me know. Please message me. I might be able to help you. Otherwise, you can purchase your blades from the mix shop, is what I should sell. Okay, so I popped into there. Okay, I'm popping in some white flour. Okay, popping in some white bread. So what we're doing, we're actually just making a crumb, beautiful crumb. So I'm just going to pop in my bread. My bread's actually slightly stale as well, so that actually works even better. I'm just going to say next. Okay, pop that lid on. So it's just going to mill it 10 seconds. I love this. So fast. And you can hear it, actually hear it change. I don't know if anybody knows, but when your machine's going, you can actually stop it at any time, just by hitting your selector. I had someone message me the other day to say, oh, I just made that. Yeah, so when you're middle of, look at this. When the machine's going, just feel free to stop the machine at any time. You just push the selector in and it'll stop. Okay, how good is this? Oh, yum! So that's our crumb for our fry. Yum. So I'm just going to get most of what I can out of the bowl. So your spatula is designed specifically shaped to go around the base of your bowl. Try and aim for the back of the high blade. So when you're actually scooping around inside the bowl, it's actually by using it on the back of the high blade, you're not going to nick the spatula. It's just going to mean the spatula will just last that little bit longer for you. They do last a fair while though. Okay. So if you're cooking along at home, that's our crumb. Isn't that awesome? Yay. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. And what I want you to do, we're going to jump out now. So no need to clean our bowl, which I love. Those who have watched me before will know. I don't like washing my bowl. I avoided it as much as. Okay, so what you can do when you're in the TM6, okay, and the TM5, you can actually exit your recipe. The way you can do that up the TM6, just a little dot, dot, dot beside it, you can say cancel recipe, and that's going to allow you to just jump out of that recipe. If you wanted to, you can actually bookmark the recipe as well and jump straight back in, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, now we're going to do our brioche bun. Yay! Okay. There we go. There's our brioche buns. Okay. As I said before, you can push down arrow. It gives you all the ingredients as well as you want. Okay, we're ready to go, and we're just going to say start cooking. Now, this first step, it says grease a large bowl and set aside. So if you don't have a thermomat, I would definitely grab a big bowl. Okay, and we're going to put a cling wrap or a damp tea towel over the top, and it's going to rise. But that's traditionally what you do. Today, what we're going to do is I just want you to find something that actually what we will do. Don't worry about that. Just grab some baking paper. If you don't have a thermomat, grab some baking paper. Okay. Right. So we'll say next. And I will mention some of this one. So for those who don't know, these are thermomats and they are fabulous. But I'll go into that in a second. So if you have something like this, grab it for me. All right. And I'll talk about that in a second. All right, so we're going to grab 20 grams of white sugar. If you want to, and you've got a whole lot of, like, whatever reason you've still got stuff in your bowl, please feel free to give it a wash if you want to. But that's fine. All right, so 20 grams of white sugar. So as you pour in, I'm going to add up. Oh, I've got 28. That's all right. Some yeast. So when I first got my Thermomix, I used to be really pedantic about measuring and being really, oh my gosh, it has to be exactly the same. It doesn't. It's like just like traditional cooking. Okay. Don't be too upset with yourself if you're 5 or 10 grams over. Don't worry about it. It's not a big issue. The only time that I would say that it is an issue is if you're making something like macarons that have to be absolutely accurate, and the machine, if you've never attempted a macaron, oh my God, try them in your Thermomix. They are amazing. Okay, so I've just popped in the yeast. Now, what I'll do, hang on, I'll just show you. I'll pop in some milk. It's just 80 grams of milk. Now, when you're putting your yeast in, just try and make sure that your yeast is off your blade. Okay. All right, I'll pop in our milk. The reason for that is our milk. Oh, 81. How good is that? Okay. And I'm going to pop in. Now, I've got tap water, but what I might do with our boiled water, I'm just going to put in a little bit of water. Just going to put in a little bit of boiled water just to make my the temperature of my water a bit warmer. The reason for that, you don't want it to be too hot so that it actually kills the yeast. You don't want to do that. You don't want it to kill the yeast. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to pour in 150 grams of water. But by pouring in the warm water, it just means that you can speed up the next step. So I'm putting in 150 grams of warm water. And it's going to ask, oh, look at that. So good today. 150 grams. All right. Pop the lid on, and I'll explain it in a second. So now it's going to go to 3 minutes, 37 degrees, and it's going to turn it to, heat it to 37 degrees, and it wants to go to speed 2. Now, the reason I actually put warm water in there, now it does have the 80 grams of milk, but the reason I put the warm water in there is actually just to speed up the process. Because you put warm water in there, you can actually probably just do it in a couple of minutes, sorry, instead of 3 minutes. Just saving those time here and there. Okay, so I'll tell you about the Thermomix. So when you buy a Thermomix, a lot of people ask what are the most essential accessories to get with it, to have with it. Honestly, when you buy your Thermomix, you get everything that you need. However, there are extra elements that I think are such a great asset to have. One of them is your thermomat, and the other one is a thermoserver. Okay. So the thermomat, and these are actually, so just let you know, these are actually a host reward. So you can actually get these at a heavily discounted price as a host reward. You can buy them in the mix shop. So I think they are $60 in the mix shop. As a host reward, you actually, these are the new ones. I'll just show you. These are the new ones, and they're super fancy. See, it's got the little circle in the middle. It just helps you when you're making pizzas and all that sort of stuff. You actually give it away. And it has a ruler along the bottom. Both have a ruler on. So this is the thermomat, and this is the oven mat. Right. So as a host reward, you actually get these, and normally they are $90 as a set in the mix shop. As a host reward, you get them for $50. And now the reason I mention that is if you either wanted to have a one-on-one friend who might be interested in purchasing, you could get these as a good discount. We actually get them free from the spot. Or just by inviting them along to join us today, you actually qualify to get these discounted. So yeah, so if you know anyone who would like to join us, I'd love to have them along. Just let me know beforehand their names and details, and you get post reports, which is awesome. But if you are also, one thing I mentioned is if you're interested in being a consultant by chance, you actually get them as well when you, let me know about that, because I can give you a deal. Heavily discounted when you purchase the Thermomix as well. As a consultant, there is it's only $900 up front to buy your TM6. You actually get a opportunity to earn your Thermomix for free. So let me know if you're interested now. I do have some listeners who have jumped on that. It's so exciting. And yeah, so just message me and I'm really happy to give you more details. Okay, right. Oh, no, finish this, and then we say no. Okay, so now we add in our and they give you if you are interested in, or you know, have that in the back of your mind about being a consultant, you get so many extra little bonuses. It's awesome. One of them being, I don't know if you can see whether it reflects. Oh yeah, you can see that little light that's behind my head. That's reflection. They sent a halo light, which is awesome. So I got that as a consultant gift for doing my live, which is very handy. Okay, all right, there we go. So 450. Now those cooking along at home, I actually would suggest just adding in, I always just add in a fraction more. So in this case, I might put in 460. The reason I do that is I find, there we go, 460. For those that do my cook-alongs, you'll know this is a very rare event, me getting these accurate. Okay. All right, 460, perfect. Okay, teaspoon of salt. Sorry, not a teaspoon, just a 1.5. Go, that's about right. So next, we're going to add in some butter. Butter. I actually made this butter. I don't normally make my butter. I should normally make my butter, but I did actually make my butter this time. I had some cream that was going to expire. So, And I got this recipe off the recipe community as well. So the one in the basic cook is awesome, but I wanted to make it a little bit softer. So I followed the one on recipe. I followed the one on the recipe community. And how's that? Oh, that'll do. Perfect. Yeah, and it made it softer. There we go. The next one egg.
I had a question. If your cream's about to expire, how long does your butter last for then?
It's actually, look, honestly, because it's the buttermilk that actually makes the butter go off. So what you do, the buttermilk, if your cream's about to expire, the buttermilk will only last as long as that cream. So if it was tomorrow, the buttermilk, you've used the buttermilk straight away. So when you're making the butter, it's 2 batches of buttermilk. The first, kind of like the first prep. Sorry, that's my son. Really good question. What I would suggest is when you are making buttermilk, when you're making butter, so probably, I don't know, like butter lasts a little while, maybe. You could definitely use it for about 5 days, I would say, 3 to 5 days, I suggest. So if your cream was about to expire tomorrow, that's the best time to buy your butter. That's the best time to buy it because it's heavily marked down. When you make the butter, it actually spins out the buttermilk, which is what is the part that goes off. So it'll spin that out, you rinse that, you spin it again, it gives it another wash, and then you've got your butter made at the end. So it'll last, yeah, how long does my butter last? Well, I'm not a health expert, so I'd hate to say how long, but I generally would use it in about 3 to 5 days for the butter, and it lasts and lasts and lasts. So yeah, hope that helps. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to do, whilst that kneading, let me just move that over. When you
I missed how long it was kneading for, sorry.
Son ringing, sorry. This is the only time that I would recommend not walking away from your Thermomix. Okay. So if you've got your Thermomix on a bench, do not, and it's like a laminate bench, especially, so it's a bit slippy, don't walk away from your Thermomix. And if you have your Thermomix on a slidey board, see how it moves around? That's right. That's the only time you do not want to walk away from it. If you've got your Thermomix on a board by chance, make sure you take it off that board before you actually do your kneading, because it does rock around. So it's awesome with kneading, but you just need to all right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly make a little egg wash for our zucchini. So it's just 1 egg, and I'll grab my whisk. 1 egg, half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon. All right, and just whisk that up. And what we're going to do, we're just going to dip the zucchini battens in it. And set that aside. All right. You see my Thermi moving around? You can understand why you do not want them to walk away. And I've got a stone bench top and it still rocks around. Can you see it moving? Oh, look at that. I'll move it around so you can see it. Okay, so we're just going to, what I'm going to do is grab a tray and our crumb, and I'll just show you what they look like. So what you want to do, you just want to dip your zucchini into our beautiful egg wash and then dip it into the crumbs. Oh, amazing. So imagine what these will look like. And then we're just going to pop them onto, let's see, just going to pop them onto a tray like that. Okay. Now you can do a few at a time if you wish. Okay, just to speed it up. Who's got an air fryer? I'm so jealous. If you have an air fryer.
I do.
Me. Do you use it? Do you love it? Do you love it?
Yes, please. Yes.
I'd love to get one. Yes, as I mentioned, I'm dropping hints to my love. Since owning the Thermomix, we've managed to clear up so many other appliances, but now I want to add back in an appliance, so I think it will help a lot. Oh, you have a DeLonghi one. Oh, awesome. I've heard the Philips ones are amazing as well.
I got a Miracle Chef air fryer ovens.
What was that?
It's called a Miracle Chef.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like racks in it. You can put different stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's got a rotisserie in it.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, maybe I should investigate that. Okay. So you get the idea of my opinions. Okay. No, just leave those. So these, if you are being healthy, definitely air frying is amazing. I did put these in the oven when I did a test drive of them. I found them to be still, they were lovely on the outside, they were crunchy on the outside, but it's still a little bit juicy on the inside. Is probably a good way to describe it. So I think an air fryer would be amazing, or even if you want to shallow fry them. Okay. All right, so let's do these. Keep an eye on the time. If you don't like getting your fingers dirty, that's when you call in your teenagers. Because you do end up with sticky fingers. I've got lovely teenagers. It's actually awesome. I don't know if anybody else has their teenagers cook, but we have our guys do a meal because they can, if you can read, you can cook. So my, I've got a nearly 18-year-old. She's lovely and she can't see with my bowl cleaning. And then a 16-year-old and then a 10-year-old. And so the two big kids, yeah, it's great. They'll do a meal a week for us, and then the 10-year-old makes his own smoothies, and it's awesome afternoon snacks. All right, so you get an idea of that. I'll put that aside. Right. Let's put these aside. I can do that later. Finish those off. I'll show you. There we go. So that's what they look like. So I will probably just use a fry pan to actually do these guys. But for those who are doing them at home, you just do 180 degrees and about 20 minutes or so, and they'll be right to go. But I'll put those on and add to those. All right. And we will come back to those. Clean up my bits. For those cleaning along at home, cooking along at home, just clean up your desk space. So what we're going to do, once this is done, I'm going to show you how to. So if you haven't already, I'll just get you to boil your kettle now. Again. Might fill up my kettle. Boil that again. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to grab your varoma out. So, and if you have a thermo server, grab your thermo server as well. Okay. So you're going to need your and your varoma. Now, everyone will have a varoma. Not everyone will have a thermo server. Thermo servers, and I rave about this every week. I love my thermo servers. They're amazing. Now, I have seen a few posts about people going, oh, they're not worth it. Oh my goodness, they actually just haven't been shown how to use them. So your thermo servers, just like anything, they're metal, they're double walls, stainless steel, amazing. They're like a thermos, so they'll keep food hot or cold for up to 2 hours. But what you got to do with your thermo server, you actually have to prime them before you use them. So keeping food hot in your thermo server, what you need to do is put boiling water into your thermo server, just about 1 inch high, 2 centimeters for those who aren't as old as me, and put boiling water into it. Put your aroma over the top, and we're going to put our dough into it to rise. And that. Just push that there so you can see. Grab my thermomix. Next. There we go. Oh, it needs.
And so, Sophie, if you don't have a thermoserver, what can you use else?
You can absolutely. Oh, look, I'm just going to show you my dough because I went a bit heavy-handed. See how my dough is a bit sticky still? It will be sticky, but what I want you to do, if it is sticky, just put a little bit more flour into it. And go back. Just give it a quick knead. Take your lid off so you can have a look inside. Okay. So if you don't have a thermoserver, just use a something like a Pyrex dish or like a. I'll show you. So something like a Pyrex dish. So I'm just going to have a look through if it needs a little bit more. Remember, you're in charge. If it comes out and you go, oh, that's not quite right, you're completely in charge. Just add in more flour, and yeah, that's looking much better because you want your dough to pop out nicely. And the way it wasn't too wet. So you want it to be like a ball. Oh, I don't know why. So keep an eye on it, and you want it to be looking like a ball. Won't take much. Okay. That's looking better. So what I would suggest, if you don't have a thermoserver, just use something like this. Just like a Pyrex dish that you can put some hot water in, just to keep the heat in below your varoma. So it's like that. Okay? All right. That's better. All right, let's look at it now. I'm going to put some dough on a flour onto my mat. That's better. See that? Okay, that's what you want it to be like. Even more so. So, all right, flip it over. And what you can do is twizzle the bottom, and you'll feel it release off the blades. Okay, yeah, that's better. There we go. I'm probably going to need to add a little bit more flour into it. There we go. Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, and pull out your dough. So you want it to be as, there we go. That's what we want. Yeah. So, and if you need, you need, feel free to add some more flour onto your dough. So that's what you want to end up with, okay? So if your dough is a little bit damp like mine was, feel free to add more in, okay? It shouldn't be too thick, like you're in charge. So then, okay, what we want to do, feel the heat in that dough. It's beautiful. So what you want to do, you want to capture that. So you wrap it up in your thermomat. So what a thermomat will do will actually keep in the heat, which is awesome. If you don't have a thermomat, I highly recommend getting one. And if you don't have one, grab some baking paper or even probably grab a baking paper. All right, that'll be the best thing to do because then you can peel it off later. I'll set this aside and I'll just show you a little trick. Grab our thermo server, pop in some boiling water. Now when I pour it in, you'll hear it go, look. Now, if you were cooking for, like if you wanting to keep your food hot for someone who's running late, like you've cooked dinner and they're coming home a little bit later, this is when you use your thermoserver. So what you need to do before you put your food into the thermoserver, prime your thermoserver. So pop in about 2 centimetres, here you go, you put in about 2 centimetres of the water, okay? Let it sit for about a minute and tip that out and then put your food in. The reason for that is that the thermoservers are designed to keep heat in. If they're cold when you put your food in, it will actually take the heat of the food to heat up your thermoserver. So just prime them before you put them in and you're right to go. All right, can you see, I don't know if you can quite see how opaque my aromas become already? So what's happening is the steam's rising up out of that and it's creating a really beautiful warm environment for our dough. So pop our dough in, the thermo, I can still feel the heat from our dough. I'm just going to loosen it a little bit so when it goes in, it's going to expand like no tomorrow. Pop that in. Now that is the perfect environment for speed rising our dough. All right, so a little trick. So we're going to set that aside. So normally the recipe says to set it aside to rise for an hour. We're not going to need about half an hour. Okay. Question? I've got a question. No? Right, someone got a question. All righty, so I grab my other bowl.
Yeah, I just, because I signed up for this.
Yeah, but you can join it in November.
Yeah, but.
No, is someone not muted? Let me have a look.
You are not muted.
Oh, Prema, would you mind just muting yourself, please? I've got there, perfect. Thank you. Awesome, thank you. All right, okay, so I've got a new bowl and my lovely assistant's going to be cleaning my other bowl. But if you are at home and you've only just got the one bowl, I'm actually going to just hop that so you can see. If you've only got the one bowl, you can clean that at the moment. I'm just going to, actually I might just show you that. Just got the one bowl, just pop some water, quickly I'll show you this. Pop some water to cover the blades. I'm going to exit out of this recipe and just pop water, make sure you put your measuring cup on and literally just give it a quick blast for 10 seconds. Okay, super easy way of speeding up your cleaning process. All right, so I'm just going to take that one off and give that to my beautiful assistant to clean for me when she's free. Okay, rightio. So now our brioche buns are off rising for us. So that's going to be about half an hour. What I want to do now is actually start our salmon burgers. Okay, it's beautiful. So I've downloaded the recipe, lemon and herb, come into my week, and There it is. Okay, so lemon and herb salmon burger with zucchini fries. So we've got our zucchini fries set aside already. So now what we're going to do is actually make a beautiful mayonnaise first and then our salmon burger. So we'll say start cooking. Okay.
Sophia, did you tip the water out of your thermoserver? I couldn't see it.
No, I didn't. So if you were using it just for cooking, keeping food warm, what you do is you put about 2 centimeters or an inch of water in there, let it sit for about a minute, tip your water out, okay, then you can put your food in and it will keep it nice and hot. Vice versa, if you wanted to put something ice and want to keep something icy, just put some ice into your thermoserver and let it just give it a bit of a swish around. And then you'll be right, it'll actually freeze down the metal as well. And on the outside, even though it's boiling water on the inside, you can actually hold it because it's double walled. You can hold it and it doesn't worry your hands at all. So, but in our, because we're rising our dough today, you want to keep the hot water in there while we're going. Okay, good question. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're actually going to make some mayonnaise. I'm not sure if anyone's made mayonnaise before. Has anyone made mayonnaise before? It is so easy. It is ridiculously easy to make mayonnaise and it's really delicious. This one in particular is lovely. It's actually got like a lemon mayonnaise and it's got capers in it as well, so which is beautiful. Now, when I am weighing, I'll just move mine over so you can see. When I'm weighing with my Thermomix, okay, instead of having to actually take the lid off, I just actually invert the lid and you've got a lovely flat surface that you can weigh on. Okay, so I pop my jug. So I'm just going to put a jug on top. You just need a bowl or some description. I've just got my jug on top and I'm going to add in. So it asks for sunflower oil. I've just got canola oil, so I'm going to be using that today. You can use rice bran oil. You want something, you want an oil that is flavourless. If you can. Okay, so then we're going to pour in our 150 grams. There we are. Up to 100. And this will make a jar of oil. Yep, there we go. So I've made this with rice bran oil before and it worked out really well as well. I'm going to set that aside because what we're going to do, we're actually going to drizzle that through the hole in a second. Okay, so now we're going to pop 1 egg. Next, put our ground pepper. I just remembered where my pepper was. I might move everything over. Lemon juice. Grab some lemon juice. Beautiful. It's just asked for a teaspoon. Actually, you can probably put in a little bit more, maybe 2 teaspoons. I love it a little bit lemony, personally. I love it. Pop that over there. And 2 teaspoons of the Dijon. If you had like a whole grain mustard, you could use that as well. I do love the Dijon in this, but depending on what you've got, and like anything, especially at the moment when COVID is so prevalent, and if you haven't got the option of jumping out to the shop all the time, just use what you've got, and that's what makes the that's really what makes the Thermomix shine, is that you can really use alternates. You just use what you've got. Make do with what you've got. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next, it's going to go for 3 minutes and it's going to go at speed 4. But meanwhile, what we're going to do, very slowly, just drizzle our oil through the lid. So not a large, very slowly. And if you listen, you'll actually hear it start to change. I won't talk. So inside, if I can explain what's happening inside, I need to get a camera so you can actually see in. You see it ripping it, and it's turned into a really beautiful yellow paste inside. You can see the mayonnaise forming. I'm really drizzling it in. And it's emulsifying for us. As you can see, the screen, quite a small screen. And what you'll need as well is a jar, because you've just made your own mayonnaise. Yay! All right. And really done. Okay. So that was 150 grams. So that took, what are we, 125? That took about a minute and a half for me to pour that in. So certainly don't rush that step. That's a really key point for making your mayonnaise. Okay, so with your mayonnaise, and with any of these recipes, you can have a look at your recipe detail and see what's coming up next. With our mayonnaise, we've done our meg, and that comes in there, it says add the capers, and you can stir through and season as well. So if you haven't got them already, grab some capers and grab a jar. I'm just going to grab a jar, and I'll show you what. So these are one of these jars I've just sterilised earlier today. I'm not sure if you know, and I did a little video on it, but you can actually sterilise your jars using your Thermomix and the Prema as well. So it takes 20 minutes and you can sterilise. So don't throw your jars out, any jars that you keep, any end jars that you get, keep your jars. Literally takes 20 minutes and you boil them at Prema temperature for 20 minutes in your Prema. Set them in there. It doesn't have to be any particular way, and then actually steam your jar and then sterilise them. You can do that for baby bottles as well. So if you've got baby bottles at home to sterilise, you can do that. So next, there we go. Here we go. I'll show you. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Yay! So I'm just going to stir through 2 teaspoons of our capers. If you don't like capers, you can absolutely leave this step out. But I do love them. Just in. There we go. Stir through. I love how it just tells you every step of the way. Where's my spatula? There we go. Just going to give it a quick stir with those capers. You see my bowl? Awesome. Okay. So there you've made your own delicious mayonnaise. How gorgeous is that? No need to buy mayonnaise at the shop. Oh, Bella.
Yeah.
Hi, Chief Bottle Washer. Would you mind cleaning my bowl for me, please, Mama?
Sure.
Thank you. Isn't she lovely? Okay, so that's your mayonnaise. Isn't that gorgeous? So you no longer need to make, it's in the sink. Thanks, thank you. No longer need to buy mayonnaise, and it is so easy. Mayonnaise is so easy to make. So please give it a go. Like if you're making potato salad, for example, just make your own mayonnaise. It's so delicious. Let it chill in the fridge. It even produces an even better flavour. Once it's had a little time to sit in the fridge and chill and just let the flavours really go through the mayonnaise, it's really beautiful. This is a really lovely recipe. There is just a straight mayonnaise recipe, very, very similar in the basic cookbook. Just add the capers in at the end. There we go. Look at that. All right. Excellent. So I'm just going to set that aside. Transfer into cover and place in the refrigerator. Clean and dry mixing bowl. Sure. Right. Okay. I will. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you. So that's my. You can see I've got a little bit of dirtiness in there. I'll just show you my tip again. There we go. So what I've done, I've just covered the blade, put a little bit of soap in there as well. Detergent in there. I'm going to jump out of the recipe. I'm just going to show you. So if you push the home button at any time, see how it bookmarks. There's a little green bookmark up the top there. When you click on that, it's actually going to take you straight back into the recipe. But just to give it a quick glance, I'll tip it out. 4 or 5 seconds. Let it release. I'll tip this out and I'll show you. Just give it a quick rinse. See that? Isn't that awesome? So if you are in the midst of a recipe, so if you're cooking along with me at home, give your bowl a quick clean and we're going to keep on going with our recipe. It is such a quick way. So with the TM6, it does actually have a pre-clean function. I'll quickly show you that. So if you swipe there that way, see there's a pre-clean function here, one of the functions that's built to it. And what it does, it's so clever, it actually senses how dirty your bowl is. So you literally just put water in the pre-clean mode, you put water in the bowl, push pre-clean, and it will sense how dirty your bowl is and will adjust the cleaning time accordingly. So it is so cool. Okay, all right, well, we're going to keep going. Rightio. So now I'm going to get to, now I had a lesson today, so I might be the only one, but when it asks for shallots, 6 spring onions and shallots, okay, so these are echallots, okay, just to help you, these are echallots. Shallots are the little brown, they look like little tiny brown onions, that's a shallot, and these are spring onions. So I know a lot of people get a little bit confused as to which is which, okay, so this is a spring onion, these are echallots, and shallots are actually the little brown onions. So if you're ever confused, that's the difference. I just wanted to show you that. A little lesson from the beautiful greengrocer. Okay, so I'm going to pop in my shallots, just trimmed. I'm just going to trim off the. There we go. So you can, if you don't have spring onions, they're not as readily found, but they're good. Yeah, I know a lot of people get confused between the echallots and in Australia, I think we tend to call them a little bit something. I think they're a bit different to what they are in the Europe. There's a little bit of confusion in Australia as to which one's which, so I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so I popped in that. Okay, I'm going to do now. Okay, so I'm going to put in actually, I'm going to show you something. So, sorry, I'm going to tip out. So if you're cooking along at home, sorry, I'm jumping around. But what I'm going to do is I want to show you, because the next step is to add in half a lemon zested. Now, I'm all for easy cooking. So here's my half a lemon. And I am going to zest it. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to peel the lemon, okay, It's just going to make it so much easier. And I'm going to let the Thermomix zest it for us. So if you don't, so do apologise, tip out what you've done. If you haven't, if ready. If you've got your lemon zest ready to go, well done. Otherwise, just peel your lemon so you don't have the white peel. You can avoid it. There we go. I might do a little bit more just because I love lemon. There we are. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hop out of my recipe, push the home button, it'll jump back out. Pop in my lemon peel, that's just my half a lemon. Pop the lid on. And speed 10, it's going to zest it for me. Can you hear it pinging? Just wait. Wait, let it go until you can stop hearing it ping. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, done. It's no more grating knuckles. All right, so I'll show you. So there's my zest. If you want it, oh, actually, it's probably a bit. Oh, because my bowl is a bit wet. That's okay. I might scrape down the side. See how? Can you see that? I'm just going to give it one little glass. And that's just going to make no more scraped knuckles. Could I ask? Could everybody just mute whoever has the beautiful Galaxy Tab, I can see Galaxy Tab S2. Would you mind muting yourself as well, please? Thank you. So I can hear you cooking. I'm so excited you're cooking along with me. Okay, so we'll come back to the recipe. So we put in our lemon zest. Thank you. Okay, and then we put in our spring onion. Now we put in our spring onion. Okay, beautiful. Now we're going to put in now, if you had 2 sprigs of tarragon leaves, please enter them at this point. I don't. If you don't have tarragon, you can actually use, alternative is dill, which we're actually going to be putting in anyway, or basil. Basil's a really lovely alternative to tarragon. But I didn't grab my basil, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm just going to pop in my dill and just pop in the fronds only for your dill. I love dill. Dill and fish, isn't that beautiful combination? So just pop in your fronds only. There we go. I might put it just perfect. And say next. Oh, and the smell, it's beautiful. Love that stuff. Okay. Next. Okay, so it's going to be 5 seconds, and it's just going to turn it around to speed 5. And I'll show you. Okay. So depending on your speed on your Thermomix, depends on what the chop. So if you're making, if you want something to be chopped up roughly, like you're making a coleslaw, that's when you would be looking at a speed 4 or 5. So see, this is speed 5 and the results of the speed 5. If you wanted to mill something like we've done already, that's when you go speed 9. So the higher the speed on your Thermomix is the tinier, the finer the result that you'll get. Oh, the smell's amazing. Now I'm not going to stick my head over the top. I always get onion eye because I love to see what's happening with my food. Okay, just going to give it another 5 seconds, scrape down the sides. Let it go. Excellent. Okay, scrape down the sides again. Okay, and this is when we add in our salmon. And I'll show you what it's done. So I'll just show you. Oh, it looks amazing. Can you see that? Look at that. Okay, so I'm just going to scrape down the sides. And I'm just going to grab my salmon. So this is making our salmon patty. Oh, got onion eye again. All right. There we are. So here's my beautiful salmon. Now, I did have a question. Someone's cooking along with me and wanted to know whether you could use another type of meat, like whether you could use chicken. Of course, you could use chicken. I would actually recommend using a chicken breast because it's just a bit moist. Definitely use chicken. Okay, there we go. So it says 3 fillets. Now, I have 5 big eaters in this family. So I'm actually going to pop in about, I think I've got about 800 grams, if that gives you a bit of an idea. It will make about a dozen patties. So I used a kilo during the week, and I think I ended up with about 18. Did I end up with about 18 or 15? Maybe 15 patties? Okay, so some peas. Yay! Now you don't have to add your peas in if you don't want to. Obviously, if you don't like peas, don't add them in. You don't have to, but we like peas. Okay, I'm going to pop in about 80 grams of peas. There we go. Who's that? 80 grams. Right. Excellent, we're done. Okay, so then just a little bit of salt. Where's my salt? There we go. Half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, now pepper. I'll just show you. This is what it looks like. Okay. So next, going to put a lid on. And literally 10 seconds, and it's just going to mush everything up. Now, okay. Look at that. How awesome was that? All right. How quick was that? So now if you look in it and decide that it needs, actually what, I'm actually going to give it just, just a second more, just because I've got one piece that hasn't been chopped. And I'm super lazy and don't want to do it myself. So I'm going to go back, because you can always go back. Again, you're in charge. My flappy ear dog. Here we go. Literally a couple of seconds. Perfect. All right. So you're in charge, okay? So if you look at what the result is and you go, oh, I don't quite, it's not quite right, it's not quite how I like it, that's absolutely fine, okay? You are in charge. You are the chef, okay? And you just do what you need to do. Okay, so divide the mixture into 8. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tip this up. Oh, sorry, I told you about my flappy-eared dog last time. I have a dog that when she wants attention, she flaps her ears. She's a very good dog, except when she needs attention. I'll ask my beautiful dog to take it out. Okay. It's called keeping it real, that's what it is. All right, so can you see this mixture? It's awesome. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the salmon patties out of this. Oh, wow, you should see my brioche buns far out. I'll show you, hang on 2 seconds. As soon as I get all this out. Now, someone asked me, so let's see how there's a little bit, little left around. If you've got mixture still around the blades, okay, pop your lid on, push your home button, give it a blast for probably 2 seconds. Not even that, 1 second. What it's going to do is actually flick everything off your blades onto the side of the bowl. I'll show you. Can you see that? How it flicks it around the side? Okay. So now you're not wasting. You're just not waiting. You've got all that. See that? all that beautiful mixture comes out, and you get as much as you can out of the bowl. There we go. Awesome. So there's our bowl. That's pretty clean. Okay, so what we're going to do with this mixture, we're actually going to roll this into probably 8, I would say, 8 to 10 patties. Just going to pop this in. And I'm going to show you, so I'm just going to pop this aside for a moment, and I want to show you the power of our thermo server and thermomat. Okay, so it was meant to take an hour. Check this out. Can you see? Can you see how it's expanded? Isn't that awesome? So that's our dough. Now our dough is ready to go, pretty much. Now that is such a time saver. So that's just by getting that ready. So I'll just let me put that aside for a second. I have had many an event where my dough has just exploded out of the thermomat. So, okay. So what we want to do, yes, we'll put this into 8 equal portions, the shape into the burger patty. Okay. Put on a plate and set aside. Clean and dry your mixing bowl. Okay. Cool. Let me just check what we're doing. Rightio. So then it says preheat your oven, baking tray. Grab your the Parmesan cheese that we were doing before. Yeah, okay, and then we're going to, yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're going to exit out of our recipe. So if you're following along at home, cancel your recipe. We're just going to roll these. If you wanted to, you could actually roll these now and pop them into, set aside, waiting for our brioche bun. So I'm actually going to just pop this into the fridge as it is, and I'm going to roll mine a little bit later today. I'll show you, actually, I'll quickly show you what size.
Oh. I got it.
What did you do?
I pressed it at your face.
Someone got a question? I've got, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Someone got a question?
Thank you, my husband.
Thank you. It's just gone.
No. There we go. That's right. So can everyone just mute themselves if you don't have a question? That would be awesome. So what I'll just show you. Okay. So that's the size of our patty. So what you want it to be, you want it to be about that size, okay, when you're going to do just like a burger bun, a burger patty. So I'm going to pop that mine into the fridge. Okay. Oh, amazing. Save that for later. All right. So now.
One question.
Yes.
Can you freeze the patties and then have it in the fridge for later on in the week?
Absolutely, absolutely. It will freeze so well. That's an awesome idea. So if you weren't, and if you were doing batch there, there might only be yourself or 2 people that you're cooking for, and you don't want to have, 8, 10 patties, absolutely make them up and then pop them into the freezer. I would suggest putting them, you can either fry them up and reheat them later, and put them in the freezer and reheat them later, or put them into the patty, and I would suggest putting them onto baking paper between them so that they don't stick, and then you'll be right to go. So probably what I would do is put them onto a baking tray in one layer, then put them in the freezer so that they freeze singly, then put them, once they're frozen, you can stack them up, otherwise they'll stick together. You don't want that to happen. But yeah, so freeze them on a single layer and then you'll be right to go. That's a great idea. Okay, so our dough. Look at our dough, it's amazing. It's just expanded. All right, so I'm going to show you. Let me just clean up my bench space for a sec. All right. Sorry, my flappy ear dog. Oh my goodness. All right. Next time a small child walks past, I have to let my dog out. Oh my goodness, look at this dough. It's amazing.
There's dog walking around the kitchen behind you.
Okay. Amazing. Yay. Okay. So our dough is ready to go. No, she's not. She wants to flap her ears. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of flour in it so I can work with it. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to divide this into 8. I'm going to make 8 burgers out of mine, 8 burger rolls. Again, you could freeze these as well. Actually, once they are made up, you could definitely freeze these. Okay. So now, when you are using your Thermomat, you cannot use a knife on your Thermomat. Okay. So what I recommend is using either your spatula. Okay, or I've got a silicone knife. Okay, what you want to do is just cut this into like a pizza. Cut it like a pizza. Okay, go. There we are. Yeah, excellent. So I've got 8 little sections there. Yeah, perfect. All right. So what we want to do now, if you were just to roll your dough, so it was in a ball, it would sit, and that's absolutely fine. However, what we want to do with our brioche buns to give it the beautiful fluffiness is I want you to stretch your dough. Okay, so stretch and fold. The rule of thumb when you're making your brioche buns and making any bread rolls, for example, is I want you to stretch your dough. So what you do literally is stretch it. See how I can do that? Now stretch and fold. Okay, then pivot it, stretch and fold. Okay, stretch. So you just start to stretch it and fold it. Now you will certainly see in a second. So stretch and fold, stretch it and fold it. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to show you. You can see the difference between the two. I'm just going to, and then kind of mold it around, and you want it to sit kind of like that. Can you see the difference between the rolled one and the stretched one? Can you see that? See how this one's so much more light and fluffy compared to this kind of dense rock. Right, I'm going to sit that down there. Maybe once I start to roll them, you'll see the difference. Okay, so stretch, fold, stretch and fold, pivot it, stretch and fold. For those people who love playing with Play-Doh, this is so fun. Okay, so just keep stretching and folding. And then kind of turn it around into a little parcel, just like that, and plonk it down. Stretch it and fold it, stretch it and fold it.
Be sticky at all, or just really soft?
It's really soft. If it's too sticky, feel free to add more flour to it. Yeah, it shouldn't be too sticky, but if it is sticky, yeah, feel free to add some flour to it. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold these. I'll fold 4, and hopefully you'll see the difference between the two. So just stretch it and fold it. Stretch it and fold it. There we go. So can you see the differences between the 4 I've got there? There we go. Can you see that? Can you see how light and fluffy these ones look versus the ones that haven't been allowed to be stretched and fluffed up? That's where your fluffiness comes in with your brioche bun, okay? So make sure you do that. So let me just do the rest of these. They don't take very long at all. It is very, I love it. I love playing with Play-Doh, so I think that's probably why I love making these buns. Okay. Okay, so then what we're going to do is actually going to set these aside for another prove. Okay, so we're going to set these aside, and I'm going to just put them aside. I'm going to grab a tray with some baking paper on it, and I'm actually going to put my thermomat over the top. And what I might do, I'm actually going to preheat the oven in a second for the chocolate torte. So I'm going to put these on a tray. There we are. Done. Okay. So I'm going to pop these onto a tray. Let me just see if I've got the tray there. So use my tray. So and then I'm going to bake these. I'm just going to set these onto a tray. It doesn't have to be a pizza tray. I'm just a pizza tray sitting there right in front of me. There we go. Beautiful. Now, what you want to do when you are putting, make sure that they've got a little bit of space to actually grow. So leave them like that. So don't have them all bunched up as such. And then, if you do have a thermomat, just cover them over the top. If you don't have a thermomat, just pop a tea towel over the top. Don't keep them a bit warmer. Now, I'm going to set this over the top of the oven, and I'm going to turn the oven on in a second for our chocolate torte. I'm going to pop this over here. And that's going to give it a really lovely warm environment to actually do the second proof. I'm just going to wash my hand. And then we're going to start on our chocolate torte. Like, okay. So this one, the chocolate torte we're doing, it's called a health chocolate torte or healthier chocolate torte. So good. Let me just get that. It is divine. It does use 300 grams of chocolate for within the case. However, I am using a really, really lovely chocolate. I use Plaistow chocolate, which does have a really lovely, it has a really good quality kosher chocolate too. So if you are making this recipe and you haven't bought the ingredients yet, I recommend Plaistow. So Plaistow or Old Gold have, it's what's called a couverture. It's a good quality chocolate. And that, so yes, it is a water dish. But yeah, so that's one thing I would recommend is getting yourself good quality chocolate. So even though you are indulging in a decadent recipe, that it is going to be good for you, as good as it can be. Righty-o. Okay, so let's get going. Let's do our chocolate torte. All right, turn this around so you can see. See that there? Perfect. All right. So I have downloaded it. My week. Okay, so it's called Health by Chocolate Torte. Okay, so again, you can scroll down, but I'm going to start cooking. So it says preheat the oven to 150. So I'm going to do that because that's going to help the second proof. There we are as well. I'm not sure if anyone can hear. My camera is that sensitive, I'm not sure, but we have chickens. And I think my chicken has laid an egg, so it's very exciting. It happens to be just outside the window. Right. I'm going to move this over. I don't know if you can hear her, but she's very excited about her egg. Okay. All right. Oh, so this is a springform pan. So if you're looking for something to, conventional pan force. So I probably conventional. Okay, so maybe a little bit less for pan force. A little bit less for pan force. I have quite a slow oven, I have come to realise. So definitely have to do everything at maximum temperature. So whatever the maximum temperature recommend, even though mine's fan forced, I still have to do mine at 150. Okay, so these are the beautiful rose gold shots in the rose gold springform pans that are available in the mix shop. They are divine. They are such beautiful quality, really heavy and divine. So this, and I will mention for those who potentially might be interested in being a consultant, I actually received these free last month, just as a reward for, like, a little thank you from the company for my sale. So, and they sent me pre-cut. Check these out. Pre-cut parchment paper round. Aren't they awesome? So, okay. So I won't go on too much, but yeah. So if you're interested in any information about the consultant, they're actually doing a special where you can earn your own TM6 for free just with the sale of full machines in 6 weeks. Amazing. So yeah, so this is what I got as a consultant reward just for the.
The only ones he likes, he doesn't like the light.
Oh, I've got someone chatting. Sorry, Dorothy. Would you mind? I don't know if you can hear me, Dorothy. Would you mind just muting yourself if you know how to? I'm not sure. So there's a little mute button there. I think it just starts to jump to you. That's all. If you can hear me, maybe she can't hear me. Okay. So that's So that's that. All right. So that's our springform pan. Beautiful. So just line that. There. Perfect. Oh, thank you. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've got our springform pan. So what it wants us to do, actually, is I'm just going to grab some coconut oil, and I'm just going to wipe the sides of the pan with the coconut oil. So the baking paper will go on the bottom, obviously stop the stick on the bottom, but I'm just going to wipe the sides of the pan as well. So the rose gold bakeware is non-stick, but just to give it a helping hand, I'm just going to give it a little wipe around. So it is non-stick anyway. I will give it a wipe. That's it. Mixed. Okay, so now I'm going to put in, so this is my raw. Now, for anybody who's seen me, so one of the best things when I purchased my Thermomix was just realising how much money I have saved by having it. So I do a lot of cooking with almond meal, and in the past I'd buy almond meal, which is $50 a kilo. These guys are $20 a kilo, and that's just, it's 30 seconds in your Thermomix and it will mill them for you. So just all those little savings has just been phenomenal. All right. See how good I am. Oh, how good's that? On fire today. Say next. Okay, so I show you. Oh, there. Lovely. Already made. Beautiful. Okay, next. So it's going to mill it. So it's going to make a little bit of a noise. So sorry, guys. Hang on 2 seconds. Speed 8. Here we go. So quick. That was amazing. So how many seconds was that? Can we go back? How many seconds was that? Next. That was it 8 seconds, was it? 10 seconds. Look at this. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? So that's almond meal. That saved me $30 a kilo just there. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that into a little bowl and set that aside. Right. Pop that into a bowl. Look at this. See that? Isn't that fantastic? That's almond milk. That took 10 seconds. Okay. That's where you start to see the savings. I remember when I first bought my Thermomix, in my other job, I'm a data analyst. Very, very left brain and very much figures and statistics. And when I first went to the shop, I was walking around and I came to the checkout and I went through the checkout and I used to know my shopping down to pretty much within the $10 amount. And when I first got my Thermomix, when I went shopping, I still remember it, I was $47 less. And I was like, what have I forgotten? And then I realised that was actually just all the things I can make in my Thermomix that you can do yourself now. So it's awesome. Yes, I know, I'm a bit anal like that. That's funny. Okay. All right. So it asks 100 grams of dark chocolate. Now, what I'm going to do, I've actually got I've got a 200 gram of 70% cocoa, which is what it asks for. But I'm actually going to do 100 of that and 100 of milk chocolate because my youngest is a little bit fussy. I'm just going to pop in 100 grams. I'll tear that off. He doesn't love dark chocolate as much, so I'm just going to break it up just into the little blocks. I'm going to add in a bit of dark chocolate, sorry, milk chocolate, and I'll do the rest in the milk chocolate. You could do white chocolate if you prefer, absolutely. But obviously, because this is a more healthy recipe, it asks for the dark chocolate, which is much better. There we go. Nearly there. There we go. Done. Okay. And we're going to say next. Okay, so it's going to, so I'll just show you what it looks like. Just the chocolate pieces there. Okay. Put the lid on, and it's going to go speed 8 for 10 seconds. Here it saying. Done. I'll show you what it looks like. Scrape down the sides with the spatula, and then I'm going to add in the coconut oil. Can you see that? Hang on. Let me just scrape down the sides and I'll show it. Looks awesome. Look at that. You see that? It's all chopped up. Okay, so now I'm going to add in coconut oil, beautiful, 100 grams. So I'm using a liquid, the MCT coconut oil, which is very good for you, or much better for you. So 100 grams of that. There we go. So next, okay, I'm going to add it. Now it asks for coconut sugar. I don't, but if you don't have coconut sugar, just use whatever sugar you've got. Like there's no, you can have rapadura sugar, you can have raw sugar, brown sugar. I'm actually using, this is called panela. I don't know if you can see this one. Organic cane juice, which is what raw sugar is, but it's more like rapadura. So let's pop in 50 grams of that. Again, use what you have. You might want to put in, you might want to leave it out, or you might want to put in less. Again, you're in control. So I'm going to pop in some vanilla bean paste. Now, I actually normally make my own, but today I had run out of my vanilla beans, and so I actually had to buy vanilla bean paste. Oh my goodness, I actually had forgotten how expensive vanilla bean paste is at the shop. So yes, if you do want to, I would absolutely recommend making your own vanilla bean paste. It is so much cheaper than buying it at the shop. But yes, I realised this morning and I was like, I don't have any, so I had to buy some. But that's good. Makes you realise and appreciate. Okay, next. Okay, so now it's going to go for 3 minutes. Turn it on to speed 2. Okay, I'm just going to clean my space a little bit. Right. Now, when you are using your Thermomix, you can at any time, you can either jump out, like when it's going, you can actually push the home button and see how it bookmarks your recipe. You can actually, whilst you're in here, see how you can swipe. You can still actually use your Thermomix. Like if you wanted to jump out and weigh something in preparation for the next step, you can turn your scales on, you can do your weighing, you can actually use your Thermomix whilst you are within a recipe, okay? You can't activate a function, but you can use your scales. Or alternatively, you can go and cookie-do, you can search for recipes in there as well. So you can actually do that. And once you're done, you push your little bookmark, and actually jumps you back into where you were in your recipe, okay? So you can actually still use your recipe as you, still use your Thermomix while you're still in a recipe. So you don't have to be standing around twiddling your thumbs waiting. Okay, what you can do as well, and you can do this on the TM5, if you have a TM5, it's up the top, I showed it before, but up to the next button on the TM6, you see the dot, 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 you tap on that and go recipe detail. Okay, scroll down and it'll actually tell you what's coming next. So I'll show you. Now on your TM5, I'll tell you that in a second. We're up to 10 seconds, we're doing that. So then we're going to get our butterfly whisk, we're going to beat it, and let you go. So I'm going to go get my butterfly whisk. We're going to add our eggs through the hole and the mixing bowl lid. There we go. Adding eggs one at a time. So what I'm going to do, so it takes 5 eggs. So I'm going to get my eggs prepped and I'm going to grab my butterfly whisk. So it just maximizes your time. So you're not standing around waiting.
I didn't have the correct flavor. You should have like a deer style. Should we try? Are you doing something with that? We need to get little
now it's so could
domino.
hang on, who have I got?
Jack, please.
Please feel free to unmute.
Jack.
I've got yeah, please make sure you so really happy to unmute and ask a question. I would love that as we go. Otherwise, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so I'm preparing my eggs. So I'm going to grab my butterfly whisk. So I'm ready to go. Here we are. Put my shells in. I'll grab my butterfly whisk. There we go. And say next. Perfect. I'll show you what it looks like. You see that? Oh, yeah. Yummy. Okay, now if you don't realise, there is actually a special way that you add your butterfly whisk in. I have got a video, so feel free to have a little look for that. But you do pop it into the blunt side of the high blade, and then you can actually give it a little twist and it'll lock it in. So pop that in there. Right, so it's going to go for 1 minute, and it wants us to turn it to speed 2.5, and then meanwhile, so you take your lid off, okay, turn it on to speed 2.5. Oh, actually go back. There we go. Add 1 egg at a time to the lid. There we go. 2 eggs. And you can hear it as you add it in. 3 eggs. 4 eggs. 5 eggs. Awesome. Done. Just pop them on the feet. Okay, 22 seconds. You can have a little look through the side. Oh, looks amazing. And recipe details. We'll just quickly check and see. We've got our butterfly whisk. Okay, and it's going to go. Yep, it's fine. Mix for a second without the measuring cup and slowly add reserved almond meal. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, can you see that? It's all whipped. It's all whipped up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is grab our almond meal. Yes, I can hear you. Did you know you can change your tone? I don't know if anybody realises this, but if you go into settings, you can actually change your ringtones on your Thermomix. The TM6 has heaps more options as well. Okay, so what we're going to do, it's going to go 40 seconds, and it's going to go at speed 3, and it'll say, meanwhile, we're going to add our almond meal through the lid. Oh, did it say, just stop your time, just check. Did it say remove butterfly whisk, or is that just me? No, it didn't. Just checking. Go back again. Oh, stop. So next. Go back. Hang on. I'm just going to say, okay, no, it didn't. Okay. So I'm just double checking myself. Meanwhile, there we go. So I'm just going to add in our almond meal. The next step it removes butter. I'm just going to add that in. Just slowly add that through and it'll blend it in. I'm just going to scoop that little bit in. Okay. Ooh. Yum. Oh my goodness. Okay. Then next, I think, remove butterfly whisk. Actually, I'm not going to worry about removing it just yet, but I'm going to pour it into our, this is where I'm going to pour it into our, you can actually see how divine this looks. So you can remove your butterfly whisk if you wish, but, oh, actually, I won't. No, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to show you how to clean it off. So don't worry about removing your butterfly whisk, but check this out. Oh, so good. So good. Yum. And you'll see my little wings on the parchment paper. They are so handy for when I actually come to when the torte is actually finished at the end. You literally can just lift it out. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to get generally as much as I can out. Okay. I'm not going to be too pedantic because I'm just going to show you something. So with the butterfly whisk, there's a maximum speed 4. So if you can remember, a good way to remember is that butterflies have 4 wings, okay? Maximum speed 4. Now, if you are in a recipe, it will only ever take you to speed 4. But if you are manually cooking and you're not being guided, just remember maximum speed 4. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. But if you can see I've still got a fair bit around my blades and I've still got a whole heap on my butterfly whisk. So I don't want to lose that yumminess. So I'm just going to pop the lid back on. And this is going to go straight into the oven for 30 minutes. So next, actually what I'm going to do, I'm jump out and I'm going to turn it to speed 4 just for about 3 seconds. Yeah. And what it's going to do, it's going to flick everything off your butterfly whisk and onto the sides. Now you can pull your butterfly whisk out. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So super clean. Super clean. And all the chocolate goodiness has spun around onto the side. So I'm just going to clean that out. So that way you don't end up leaving a whole lot of yumminess inside your bowl. For want of a better word, ingredient. But you don't leave all your mixture inside the bowl. You maximise getting as much as you can out of your bowl. There we go. How awesome is that? Now I think it says clean and dry bowl. I'm just going to check. What's it say? Next, thoroughly clean and dry mixing bowl. My beautiful helper has disappeared on me, but I'm going to pop that into the oven now and put it on for 35 minutes. So this is my torte. Isn't that awesome? Okay, hang on 2 seconds. Put that in. I'm going to set my timer. We've got 35 minutes. And when that's done, I'll be able to show you. We won't be online still, but I'll show you photos of it when it's done. So I'm going to just clean this. Put some soapy water in. Again, just covering the blades. you see how, oh, did you see, you probably didn't see how dirty it was. Make sure you put the measuring cup on. Give it a blast, speed 10. When it's a little bit sticky, I'll probably do about 7 seconds. When it's not very sticky at all, I'll do about 4 times. Right. Tip that up, and I'll show you. Right. Done. Awesome. Now, for those following along at home, clean your bowl, give it a good dry. Okay. You see that? Isn't that awesome? So easy, so much easier. Then if you were done, you could actually do your pre-clean mode and it would do it for you, which is also awesome. But that's okay, we're going to keep on going. And I've lost my teenage bowl cleaner, unfortunately. Not everybody has a teenager who wants to clean a bowl from the home either. Keeping it real. Okay.
Did you put a drop of detergent in then, or did you just have water?
I did. So for so things that are a little bit sticky, like when you're doing chocolate, I definitely put a little bit of detergent in it. If you're just doing like you've got veggies in there, for example, and you're just mixing up the veggies, you don't need to do that. You just put in some water and it will blast for you. So, yeah. All right. Awesome. Oh, I'm going to show you quickly my brioche bun. Before we finish on the, I'm conscious of time. How are we going for time? Great. All right, I'm conscious of time. 10 minutes. All right. Just before we do the, you see, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so all I'm going to do with my brioche buns literally is do a quick, crack an egg and do a quick egg wash. Okay. This is just to make them look really beautiful and glossy on top. So you don't have to have it, but you know how brioche buns have that really beautiful gloss on top. So this will give you that gloss. Grab a fork. Just gonna grab. And then if you've got sesame seed, grab some sesame seed. And that just finishes it off and makes it look gorgeous. Pastry brush. So I'm just going to paint my beautiful, this is going to give them that really lovely golden colour when they're done and make you look super professional. Okay. Now, with your brioche buns, what you want to do is just pop them in the oven. So I'm going to wait for my torte to be ready. So these will go into the oven. I'm just going to set these aside and they'll have more of a rest, which is awesome as well. Grab my sesame seeds. So once you're ready, so I'll wait for my torte to be in 30 minutes and I'll pop these in. And I'll just show you. So I'm just going to sprinkle some sesame on top. So these will go in the oven at 200 degrees. Okay. What I recommend is putting them in initially with a little bowl of water. So 10 minutes. It actually tells you in the recipe. So 10 minutes with a little bowl of water in the bottom of the oven. And that just gives it an extra bit of fluffiness to your bun as well. Pull the water out after about 10 minutes. Just that steam just makes it a little bit fluffier. Pull the bowl of water out after 10 minutes and just let it sit, let them go for another 10 minutes and then they'll be done. So, but they are ready to go, but I'm going to let them sit over here. So that's, show you just broken the way. So that's what they look like. Yay! I set them over there. Going to finish with our ganache, and then we'll be done. Okay, so beautiful. Finish off with our beautiful ganache. So if you're following along at home, I hope you have kept up. I hope I haven't jumped around too much. I'd love to see any photos of what you make as well. I love seeing people's photos. Okay, so I'm going to put in 100 grams. Oh, 112. Gosh, damn it. Doesn't matter at all. Okay, so there's, so I'll just break it up. Broken. So you can see I've just got my buckets. Turn that round. Well, actually, I'll turn around so you can see. Okay, and next, okay, scrape down the sides of the spatula. Look at that. Can you see that? Isn't that awesome? How cool is that? So it's super chopped up. Hopefully you can see in that. Yeah. There we go. So now we're going to pop in milk. Sorry. Now we're putting coconut milk, not milk. I was like, oh, I don't remember milk. Okay, so I'm just using pretty lovely organic coconut milk, just from Woolies. Give that a little stir. This is the Macro brand. I discovered it the other day. I discovered this brand about 6 months ago. They're really lovely, really beautiful coconut cream and the coconut milk. So this is the one I use. There is no payment for product placement in this show. I'm just saying. I just wanted to let you know. Okay, so now I recommend putting in about 100. So I put in 130 last time, and I found it just took a fair bit longer. But the torte was beautiful, but it took a lot longer to actually set in my oven. So it says to cook between 100 and 130, but I did, yeah, so I think 100 is better, certainly for mine. Okay, so next, okay, it's going to go for 3 minutes. I'll clean up my space. Right, so this is going to make the ganache, and then we're done. Yay, and I had 4 minutes to go. So we have done, so we've done our brioche buns, they are sitting ready to go. So they're going to go into the oven. Once the torte's done, it's going to go into the oven at 200 degrees for 20 minutes. Remember to put a little bowl in there with it as well. Just 10 minutes and then take that out. We've got our salmon mixture ready to go into patties. Now you can fry that, or if you've got an air fryer, you can pop it into the air fryer for your patties as well. Then you'll be ready for dinner. Add in some lettuce leaves. There's some beautiful baby tomatoes. Let's just pop into your burgers, and so they're ready to go. And we're just finishing off our chocolate ganache, which we'll pour over the top of the torte. Now it will actually rest. So if you wanted to put this ganache aside and serve it later with your torte, then you can do that. It will actually sit quite aside. But we are done.
Can I just say something?
Please feel free to unmute yourself and let me know if you've got any questions at all. Or again, feel free to message me if you really happy to answer any questions you might have. But I've hoped you've enjoyed this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, look, if you've got any questions, really happy to help. So yeah, thanks, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, be in touch. Let me know if you've got any questions. Really happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I just want to add something.
Next Saturday. So, all right, so wait a question. No, thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. See ya. All right, see you guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend, and hopefully see you next Saturday. And remember, if you want to, thank you, Cheryl. If you want to invite any friends, please feel free, and just let me know beforehand, and you'll get some.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you, everybody. Bye.